Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Beyond the Film podcast. First off, we want to say happy holidays. We hope you guys enjoyed your Christmas any holidays that you celebrated, that you enjoyed, took some time for yourself. We also want to say thank you so much to everyone who participated in our holiday special week. We had a lot of amazing interaction and engagement with you guys. It was so nice seeing you guys commenting and participating. It was just as much fun for us as we hope it was for you. So thank you for that. Hopefully we can do some more theme weeks in the future. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, the moment is finally here, that the highly requested moment. We are going to be doing an episode all dedicated to the new Wonder Woman 1984 film that just came out on the 25th. We have a lot of thoughts on this, and we're actually going to get into this quite detailed. I do want to mention that we are probably going to mention some spoilers, so this is going to be a spoiler commentary. So if you have not seen the film and you don't want it to be spoiled, watch this another time. Watch something else and come back to us.
Yeah, it was really hard to not give spoilers because there's just so much to talk about and we
Yeah,
really wanted to go in depth with this. But first of all, I just want to say this wouldn't have been possible without you guys. Like you guys
yes.
really wanted us to do this
It was so
commentary.
it was so nice seeing you guys remembering our podcast, as stupid as that might sound, or remembering the theme weeks that we did. Like, you guys literally made our day when you guys were asking for it, and we were like,
Yeah.
okay, we got to give the people what they want. We have to do a commentary, and we're doing it. And you're right, it's all thanks to you guys. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, and before we do also move on to the commentary, I do want to say that this is going to be a little bit of an interesting episode because, for one, we're not really going to structure this in any way. We're going to talk a little bit about the release and kind of how everything was affected by COVID up until it being released on the 25th. And then we're going to discuss literally everything about the film, but we're not really going to do it in a sequential order or anything. We're just kind of go ahead and rant and just talk about how we want to talk about it. And we also have some differing opinions here. So we both watched it, but I personally had some issues with it, whereas you you didn't see those same kind of issues, right?
Yeah, so this is
Right.
gonna be really interesting because we get to learn from each other and get to share each other's thoughts and
Yeah.
get different opinions on the film and just say what we liked and disliked and just have a normal discussion. So we're
Hmm.
excited
Yeah,
because yeah, we recently just watched this film, so it's kind of fresh in our minds. So
right.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
gonna be
It's good. I'm actually really happy that we have two different perspectives on this, because a lot of you maybe have different perspectives on this. Some of you may have loved the film, some of you may have hated the film, some of you maybe have been in between. So you kind of get to see or hear both sides of why maybe we feel that way. So it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting. So without all that information, thank yous, all that kind of thing said, let's get started. So we're going to start off by kind of discussing the turbulent, let's say, release of this film leading up to December 25th. So this film, as many of you know, was actually supposed to release back in March, I believe it was. I think
in
around the
June.
24th, or June, my
Yeah,
apologies.
June.
So it was supposed to be released in June, and obviously because of COVID-19, movie theaters ended up closing. So initially, around that June summer mark, a lot of these production companies and directors had opted not to release them at all and to push back the dates because they didn't know if streaming release and theatrical releases would even be possible. So it was pushed back in June. Second date, I think, was, do you remember what the second date was?
I think it was
August?
somewhat closer to the fall of 2020.
Yeah, I think it was actually, I got it right here. It's August 14th. So it was moved from June-ish to August 14th. That was the first move date. And then again, coronavirus was still unfortunately reigning, and they decided to keep pushing it back. Warner Brothers did not want to release it, so they pushed it back again. Do we know what the third date was?
I think October.
It was October. Yes, it was. It was late October. So they finally thought, you know what, maybe in 2 months we might be able to finally get a theatrical release. And movies were actually being released over the summer. Tenet was released over the summer. I know a couple other movies really had theatrical releases end of summer, beginning of fall. but Warner Brothers still decided not to go ahead with the release. And then they pushed it back again to December 25th, Christmas Day. So what they ended up doing is they did what a lot of films are doing. They did a half and half almost. So they released it both as a theatrical release. So for movie theaters in cities and countries that were open, they had Wonder Woman playing. But they also released it on HBO Max. HBO Max is a US streaming service that's been getting all of these new TV shows and movies. So a lot of the films that are not being released completely in theaters right now are also going to HBO Max. So there was two different ways you could view Wonder Woman when it came out. For us, we're in Canada, in the north. Unfortunately, HBO Max is not yet available to us, so we had to buy it on VOD. But nevertheless, we finally got it after almost like
Almost
7-8 months,
yeah.
almost a year of will it come out? No, it won't come out. Will it come out again? No, it won't come out again. But they decided to go ahead with it, and we're very happy. And they actually did really well.
Yeah, the numbers were really good for this.
I think they were saying just the box office was 16.7 million, which is, if you know, in regular terms, 16.7 million is not a lot. But for the first day for COVID times, that's really good. And I think they also got a couple hundred million, or not 100 million, couple million more with HBO Max. So they did very, very well. I mean, it's to be expected because it's a Wonder Woman movie and was very highly anticipated. But it just shows you that at least the makeshift way that these theaters were releasing the films, it worked in some way, into some capacity, right?
Yeah, and also like people just wanted to view it from the comfort of their own home rather than going to theaters because people just did not feel comfortable of going to theaters yet.
Yeah, and obviously that wasn't even possible for a lot of people.
Yeah.
So they think they made the right decision not to delay it. Clearly, right now they're getting their money's worth. Probably not nearly as much as they would if it was just in theaters, but you know, what can you do? That's what a lot of production companies are facing today. But I mean, we actually just got news today that they're already in the works for a third movie in the franchise, so they're making it an official trilogy.
Yeah, they Warner Brothers greenlit a third movie because of the numbers of HBO Max. So it must have done really well.
That's, yeah, again, for a theatrical and streaming release, that's phenomenal. That's like unheard of. Like the day after to be have that good of numbers to be like, okay, trilogy happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, good for them, good for Patty Jenkins, good for Gal. We'll get to see her again. But yeah, it was a rough journey to get here, but it finally released.
Yes.
So let's just start into it. So why don't we do this? Let's hear your opinion first. You can just, you know, talk a little bit about how you felt, and then we'll go to me, and then we can kind of just like nitpick at things that we talked about or maybe brought up, and then we can just go from there.
Okay, so yeah, I watched this movie like on Christmas Day, which was nice, I guess, because this movie had actually like this whole Christmas scene at the end, if you know.
Yes.
It was nice to see that. Yeah, honestly, I was just so like I feel like the first time viewing this movie because I was like so hungry for comic book content and just being a fan of Wonder Woman and being a fan of the first one. I was just so excited that I kind of just went in blindly and just went in so excited that I just came out really hopeful, if that makes sense, because the movie had a really great message that I kind of really took to heart, and it I could see the message being played out throughout the movie, which was nice. And I just thought that it was just a really colorful, bright movie and something that we needed, especially during these dark times of COVID and the pandemic and all that, all the negativity happening all around the world. So I feel like this was just like a very good film to just kind of have a good time. And I think that's what I felt coming out of it. That's why I kind of loved it so much. But also just seeing the improved performances from, Gal and Chris Pine is back, which we will talk about later on. But also seeing the improved villains from the first one because the first movie kind of had more weaker villains, I would say. So this one was very improved with performances from Pedro Pascal and Kristen Wiig as Maxwell Lord and Cheetah, and I thought that they really played a really big part, and they weren't just like villains that you just threw into the movie and they were there. They actually had storyline and had this development that went throughout the movie and I thought flowed very well throughout the movie. So I feel like all of that kind of factored into me loving the film after coming out.
Right. No, that's awesome. I mean, you made some good points there that I know a lot of people definitely agree with. So for me, I had a little bit of a different viewing experience. I know we were actually both very excited for this film for months, even past that. I remember we both were watching DC Fandom together. We posted on the account about DC Fandom as well, and it was, we were getting little teasers here and there, and it was just the anticipation was building.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for me personally, I was a little disappointed with the film. I found there to be some issues. I don't think it lived up to the hype or my expectation, which sucks because I was really, really excited and I love Patty Jenkins and I love Gal Gadot. I think they literally picked the perfect person to play Wonder Woman. But some issues I found just briefly, I think pacing wise, there was some issue. I don't know what it was, but the pacing felt really off to me. It felt unbalanced. I felt the storyline needed a little bit of tightening. Like and that kind of goes hand in hand with the pacing of we were kind of jumping places, but I don't know if there was a consistency with everything that I found that was really good with the first one. And maybe that's just because the first one we were introduced to the worlds and the characters, and this one is kind of more of a continuation. But I didn't know if that was what the problem was, but that kind of felt off to me. The visually, I thought it was stunning. We saw the marketing. We knew how the feel was going to kind of be, and we saw some good action sequences. I loved the action sequence between Cheetah and Wonder Woman in her Golden Eagle armor suit. That was like every comic book lover's dream, I think, right there to see that. And the storyline was I wouldn't say the storyline, I'll say the message. The message was heartfelt. It was very Wonder Woman-esque. It was very, uplifting in these uncertain times. I think it fit with the time that it was released. But even the 80s theme itself, like I felt there were pockets. We were introduced to these I guess the homage to 80s filmmaking in the beginning, and we had all these little Easter eggs to it, and then it kind of felt lost as we went on. It almost felt too modern to fit into that 80s theme that was already established. So I'm not going to say it was a terrible film because it was not. I did not think it was a terrible film at all. I think they had a lot of unused potential maybe that we could have tapped into. I would have loved to see more with Cheetah. I would have loved to see some other things with Wonder Woman and Steve. I felt like they had a connection, and then it was kind of like in 2 seconds broken apart. And again, maybe that's comic accurate. I don't know to that extent, but to me, it could have been a lot better than it was. So that's kind of what I was feeling like. But let's kind of dive into now some like specific points of maybe where we felt was amazing, felt wasn't really amazing. How did you feel about the story, the plot line, in terms of like the 80s theme?
Yeah, now that you actually say that, I kind of understand what you're saying with the 80s homage thing that you said with the thing you said with the, like, they did it in the first kind of half and then they kind of lost it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, now that I'm kind of like, not like replaying the movie in my head, but like replaying certain parts, I kind
Right.
of, understand what you're saying. I thought the plot points between Diana and Maxwell Lord, Pedro Pascal's character, I thought that was kind of the most significant in the story. Like
Mm-hmm.
they were really like polar opposites, but I don't know how to explain it, but to some extent they kind of connected in some cases where it's like, oh, they're both like lost and then they kind of like at towards the end they kind of come together to kind of tell each other that, oh, this like you know, like she made that whole speech about like
Hmm.
the truth, and that was one of the main messages in the movie. And I feel like that was a really deep connection that I kind of saw while watching which I saw progress throughout the movie, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
But yeah, I really loved his performance a lot. I thought Pedro Pascal gave us something that was so different because, you know, if most of you guys don't know, he is the Mandalorian. So, so a lot of people like were probably excited because of that, but he gave us something that was so different, and yeah, like I could see his acting potential there.
Yeah, no, I don't know if it would be maybe like acting potential because obviously the character is quite um has a big personality.
Yeah, not
And
like
again,
acting potential, but like I saw his potential to go further as an actor.
right, yeah, I personally think that was more, I think just like the character work, which that's I think that's what you're probably referring to. Then that was great. I think he was definitely one of the best parts of the film, if not the best part. Um, but I don't know. It felt
No,
um,
I'm just saying this like because I've seen The Mandalorian in comparison.
right.
Like yeah.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean by that because I personally, outside of this, I think Pedro Pascal is great.
Oh
Actually,
yeah,
my dad,
yeah, he's a good guy.
yeah, no, my dad actually, when we were watching it, because I watched it with him, he was like, Mandalorian, that's Mandalorian. And I was like, yeah, that's Mandalorian. So I think I liked the character, I liked the story. Obviously, you know, taken straight from the comics. Same with Cheetah, but for actually on that note with Cheetah, I had a problem with her. I nothing to do with Kristen Wiig. Love her. I think she did good. I don't know. I'm not going to say it was like the best cheetah I've ever seen. Frankly, I don't actually know if we've ever seen another cheetah. So
No, this
maybe
one I think is like the first
the
time.
first time. Um, but I feel like they made her character. It's kind of odd to say because her character has all this like unbrewed emotion, and she's very like, oh, I wanted to be Diana, but you know, I can never be her, so now I'm gonna go and get my revenge and things like that. And we know that's how it kind of plays out in the comics, but that entire storyline kind of felt like shallow to me, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? Like it felt,
Yeah.
maybe that was a problem I had with some of the other characters too. It felt painted on, like for example with Wonder Woman. um I felt that she went through so much more of a personal growth and journey in the first film, which she was supposed to because it was her kind of entering the new world. But here, um, it it just felt like forced, if that makes any sense. Like it felt like she was, oh, I want to find true love. I had true love and I can't have it anymore. And then Steve comes and they have their moment. And then, you know, she's like, I can't let you go. He's like, you have to let me go. And then
No, but
she
it
lets
wasn't
him go.
actually like Steve, but then
Yeah.
because it
Or
was,
yeah.
well, I mean, to be honest, like she could have had him back if she did the whole wish thing, but like she
Right.
had
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, she had to let him go, and then but like she let him go, and then it just is, and then she beats the bad guy, and then she's done. You know, like I wanted to see more growth with her. I wanted to see more. um we saw the humanity. Maybe that's not the problem I had with it, but I just wanted to see something more than that.
Yeah, I liked how like they, you know, because in the first one they presented her as like a god, like she was just like came from this very like, you know, this magical island with all these Amazons. She was like a warrior, which was great. Like I loved the first one, but I feel like I liked how they kind of shifted that to more of a humanized character of Diana.
Mm-hmm.
And we saw that she wasn't, you know, like she's powerful, but she's not like, you know, one of those people that has no flaws, you know.
Right. Yeah. No, we brought the humanity, and we saw like the whole, you know, being a superhero is not always what it's cut out to be, and that kind of thing. Um, but it just there was I wanted to see more in that respect. I think, and honestly, one thing I will say is that the whole Steve Trevor coming back, I really thought that was going to be it wouldn't work in their favor. You know what I mean? Like I thought they would really try it, but it would kind of like backfire on them. But it did actually feel more natural to me, which I was surprised about. Like it felt, I felt they worked in with the storyline well. So
Yeah,
that was something that I was surprised with. I enjoyed that part.
yeah, I like when they first kind of like told us that he was coming back. I was kind of nervous because I didn't really know how that was gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then actually when I saw the movie, it like the whole stone thing kind of made sense and the whole thing because I think that happened in the comics one time.
Yeah, maybe.
So
It could have
yeah,
been. I'm not an expert on that, but it very well could have been. Um, it's so that I enjoyed, and I think that Chris Pine and Gal Gadot are an incredibly cute couple together. That was like so cute to see them back together,
yeah, and it was
and they
nice
have
to see like Chris Pine because like you know how she was a fish out of water story in the first one
the
and
first one, and now he's in the second. Yeah,
yeah,
no,
I
I
think
like that. They have good chemistry together. I would like to see them do some other things together or other projects because I think they work very well together.
yeah,
Um,
I love that escalator scene.
yes, yeah. Um, but yeah, I think um, there were some things that weren't working for me. Like it didn't live up to my expectations. Maybe. Uh, I think one other thing I would say also is the whole idea of the plot within the plot. I think we saw that more with the Cheetah plot line. I don't it felt, and actually you know what, now that I'm thinking about it, maybe that was what my problem was. Because it was a subplot, I don't know if they put as much attention to it as they did everything else. And that's maybe why we liked Pedro more than we did Kristen. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean?
feel like they like because they had to focus on like Maxwell Lord more because he was just you know like because his character was going through so much of a development. I feel like they kind of lost Cheetah a little bit in
Mm-hmm.
when they because but I mean I liked how they focused on Maxwell Lord because like he was the central villain, but I
Right.
feel like they would have done could have done more with Kristen Wiig.
Yeah.
But I hopefully she comes back for the third one so they can focus on her more.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? If they can work on her and you know, make her maybe fit more with everything, I think I would be totally open to that.
Yeah,
Um,
because I think Kristen Wiig really like balanced out the comedy and the
yeah,
seriousness because
I think yeah,
she's like a comedic actress. She's
right.
known for her.
She Bridesmaids is like one of my all-time favorite movies. um, no, she's great as a comedian. I think on that note as well, in terms of the 80s theme, I get what they were trying to do. Like I totally understand that Patty Jenkins wanted to pay that homage, and it wasn't maybe as obvious as people thought it would be because it was kind of worked into the storyline. So it was kind of a question of, do you actually understand that this is trying to pay tribute, or
Yeah,
is this just incredibly cheesy and incredibly like poorly written? You know
I
what I
feel like
mean?
the first like after the film was more 80s, like the mall and stuff like that.
Right, that entire, like especially the wink, like it was very Back to the Future kind of, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? Like it stayed very true to that, but I think they could have done it in a way so that people understood more that it was an homage to that. Because if you didn't know that, like especially for the people I watched it with, my brother and my dad, I kind of had to explain that to them, that was kind of the vision going into it. They could tell that there was like that whole like 80s vibe happening, but they didn't know that that was the point of the story, the way that it was written. It almost felt like, just like I said, like poorly written, um in that respect, like with the whole like the wink and the air and the lines. It's almost like they should have made it more obvious that it was supposed to be cheesy, and it just wasn't, that it was badly written and that's why it was cheesy. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
That's kind
Um,
of where I was coming from, but again, I, not to say that it didn't work at all.
mhm, yeah.
I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Um, so like you were saying, like the 80s theme should have been more.
It's not that it should have been more, maybe it's just it should have been more obvious that it was supposed to be that way.
Oh,
Like
okay, yeah.
it was supposed to be making fun or a parody of the 80s.
Yeah, yeah, I understand
Because
what
then if
you're
you look at
yeah.
it, if you don't understand that and you look at the lines, you're like, what the heck? Like like when like Pedro's hugging his son um at the end, and the son goes, he goes, I want to make you proud, son. And he goes, no, dad, you've already made me proud. Like, if you don't understand that was trying to like make fun of the 80s whole vibe, that you would have been like,
Like a
what are they
cheesy it's like
saying?
a cheesy 80 movie.
Yeah. And that's what it was supposed to be, but some people didn't get that.
I feel like the newer generation also wouldn't understand like who the president was at that time. Like I immediately got it. Did
Right.
you?
Yeah. So we understood that kind of stuff, but
Yeah.
maybe they if maybe the thing I'm trying to say is it should have been more compatible to a modern audience. If you're gonna play that kind of parody, that kind of homage, you need to make it more obvious to people who don't know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but also like to some extent like people kind of need to be familiar with the 80s too because it's like how much can you actually like explain without
Right.
not being familiar?
Yeah. So there is that side to it, of course. Like that's completely understandable. I totally get what you're saying. Like that's kind of the point of the whole thing. You don't want to just explain everything and have hold people's hands and things. I think maybe there should have been more balance to that. I think that's what we
Yeah.
can say. But I get what you're saying on that. Like that was also kind of the point of the whole thing. Um, what
So
else
yeah,
is there?
now I think now we can state stuff that we parts that we did like. So do you want to go first?
Did like
Yes.
nothing? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm totally joking. I'm totally joking. I think it was quite comic accurate from what I can tell. Like a cheetah story was very. The only thing is, I forgot to mention this. They never said her name.
Whose name?
Cheetah. They
But
never
I don't
called it
think
Cheetah.
but I don't think she was established as Cheetah like right there and then.
Right, but the thing is that in the end, she's basically Cheetah. Like they had like the little cheetah print here and there, like the Easter egg things, but they never said her name. So it's like, what do you want to call her? Barbara? Barbara the cat?
Well, I mean she said Barbara, but then I feel like most times with like superheroes and villains, they get their names like after. Like
Yeah.
Wonder Woman didn't get her name like right away in the first film. They started calling her Wonder Woman after.
Yeah, but it was kind of like, I mean, actually, you're right. Maybe that's the way I should look at it. I don't know. I just thought because she basically comes in full form at the end of the film. Then if
Yeah,
you don't
I
want her full form, then you need to have some more developed. Like you need to know who she is.
I feel like if they do a third one, she comes back, she'll kind of get into that like,
Oh,
oh,
for sure.
I'm
So
Cheetah, you know?
yeah, I wish they would have done it in this one because she was more prevalent to the storyline in this one. But if they do a third one and if they bring back that storyline, I'm sure she's gonna come in her like full cheetah thing.
Yeah, because there's this whole other storyline in the comics where she actually gets cursed and becomes Cheetah like for good. Like you know
Oh,
how
okay.
like you know how she turns back into Barbara at the end
Yes.
because of the stone, but there's
Hmm.
this storyline in the comics where she gets cursed by a goddess. So yeah, then she falls turns into a cheetah permanently.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, that could be it. I think one thing I did like I said in the beginning, I really did enjoy the action sequence between Wonder Woman and her golden eagle and Cheetah in her full form.
I
That
did like
felt
this. I did like the CGI on Cheetah. I think she looked great.
the CGI in the beginning was iffy to me. I'm gonna be honest. When it was young Diana, I don't know what was happening. I saw some halos on some characters.
Oh, really? I love the mascara sequence. I thought it was so like I'm like I want to be there. I want to be in
I
that.
love the sequence was like visually was beautiful. You're right. Like it was really, and it was. I think it was a good way to intro it. Um, but the thing is that when I was looking at it, I really wanted the CGI to be amazing, but I saw halos. Like I saw little things, and I'm like, oh, it could have been a little better.
I
But the
like how
cheetah,
yeah, I like how the message in the first kind of sequence, like the you know like when she cheated,
yeah,
and then like that message played out at the end as well when the people like cheated their wishes.
right, yeah. Actually, that's very clever. That's actually, you know what? I didn't even think of it like that. Wow, learning new things every day. It's really good now that I think about it. Um, but that sequence felt very reminiscent of the first film. Like it felt very Wonder Woman comic DC. And I was
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is what we came to see, right? We
Honestly,
needed
I
to have a
can.
finale.
Yeah, honestly, I can never get like enough of the Mascara. It's such a nice place. I feel like everyone wants to be on an island paradise right now
Oh my god, yeah.
because of
Yeah. If it beats being in my room for like 4 more months of this lockdown,
yeah.
yeah, I want to
Honestly,
be there.
everyone wants to be on an island paradise. It will happen when this
Let's
thing
hope. Let's
gets.
hope.
Yeah,
When everything's done, guys, you as all our viewers as well, or listeners, we're all going on a vacation.
we're all going.
We're all
Yes,
going. We're all gonna make it happen.
a beyond the film look vacation.
Yeah, beyond the film paradise. Yeah. I no. So that sequence I liked.
Well, I
I
have to talk about like one of my favorite sequences, which was the jet,
which with the jet.
the invisible jet.
Oh my god, with the fireworks. You know what's actually funny? My brother and my dad kept making fun of it because they're like, fireworks can't go that high, and they're like, why would you go in between fireworks? Like that's dumb.
No,
And
I would do the same thing.
honestly, that was like I agreed with criticism of the other parts of the movie, but that part I'm like, just let it happen. Like it's for the visual, it's for
Oh my
the
God, but it
wow.
was
Just let it
visually
happen.
so nice though.
That part was beautiful. That was like
And when they went above the clouds and all the colors, that was so nice.
yeah. And actually on that note as well, I will say the score was actually really good.
Oh, Hans Zimmer, yeah.
Hans Zimmer killed it. Like genuinely, it worked with the 80s. It brought those like those it mixed 80s for the most part and a little bit of modern. But I wish there was an actual 80s song in the soundtrack. That was my only
Oh
criticism.
yeah, in the trailer they had like an 80s-esque
Right, yes,
song.
that's what I mean. Like they had the song in the trailer. So I'm like, you're gonna obviously play 80s songs in the soundtrack, right? No. we get
But I do love how they brought back the Beautiful Lie soundtrack from BBS into this. I was like freaking out.
oh yeah. Um yeah, like again, like in terms of his just Hans Zimmer's work as well, his mixing of those um songs and that was beautiful and very well done for the 80s theme. But I just wish they had more like actual songs. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like they could have like incorporated some, but like I feel like they needed like for some parts it was like so serious. I was like, how did they even do this? How would they even like incorporate like because the 80s songs are so upbeat and lively. So I
Right,
was like,
yeah.
but I feel like at the beginning they could have done something.
Yeah. Um
But I
Another
did
thing,
really love how they introduced the invisible jet.
yeah, and they got her finally with her lasso on lightning. I was so excited for that.
Yeah, I feel
Um
like that was also like a comic book fan's dream, seeing the invisible jet and her swinging on lightning.
right, yeah. That was really good to see. Although, can she fly? I don't
Yes,
remember.
that's one of Wonder Woman's main powers is that she can fly.
I did not know that. Is that really bad? I completely like I thought I knew she had the lasso. I knew she had like I did not know she could fly.
Yeah, in the comics she can fly. In the animated show, she I think flies all the time.
Oh wow. Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, then okay, go off, Patty Jenkins. Okay. That works. One also sequence I liked, when Gal Gadot kind of just like was staring into the camera, like talking to the people, but she stared directly into the camera. Um, I liked that. That was quite like, oof, wow,
Wait,
that's
which
like
one?
this moment. Remember towards the end where she's talking to like um everyone in the world saying to
Oh yeah,
renounce
yeah,
your
that
wish.
one.
She
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
directly at the camera. That was kind of like a, oh my god, like that's
I feel
powerful.
like that was like she improved her acting so much from the first one.
You know what? She did. Like there were some moments where I was like, are you gonna mess up? But she didn't. She held her own. And she kind of gave off these funny like what's it called? Like Diana in the real world, having lived for so long, she kind of doesn't get
And
take
also
things
like
very
having
well.
lost everyone. Like she doesn't have
Right. So
basically
she's kind of like she's more low profile, that kind of thing.
mhm.
Yeah. That part, I thought like sure, like it was nice, powerful, like she looks directly in the camera. But it did feel a little. It could have been something more. That's like literally my commentary on everything, and I hate that. I don't want to be like critiquing every single little thing about this, but yeah, maybe it could have done a little bit more. But I get what they were trying to go for. You know what I mean?
I was really surprised with the end credit scene. Like I was texting you about it, like, and I was like
Yes. Oh
so
my God,
shocked.
Linda Carter. Literally everyone in my family, except for my brother, because he's uncultured. Everyone saw that we were looking at it, and I remember seeing the blue cape, and I'm like, oh my God, that's gorgeous. Gal must look beautiful in that.
Yeah, that's what
And then
I thought too.
they turn around, and it's Linda Carter. And we're like, Linda Carter.
Even
So
my
I
dad,
loved that.
because like he was familiar, like my dad was familiar with the old Linda Carter Wonder Woman
Right.
series.
That's like so. My mom and dad they saw her, right? So they were like, oh my God, that's Linda Carter. We know her.
Yeah,
So that was really nice actually. I like that they did that, but they actually gave her a name.
yeah, she was like that was actually really cool that they gave her like the old warrior name.
Right, that's what it was. Okay, that's why I was like, what is she now a new character? Or so
No,
that's what it was.
remember when Wonder Woman was telling Steve about the Golden Eagle armor and where it came from because it was from this old Amazonian powerful warrior.
Oh my God, so that was her.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
that's why I was so happy about it. I was like, they
Oh,
made her such a powerful warrior.
oh my God, that makes so much more sense now. Oh my God. Like we're looking at the name, we're like, is she now a new character? I'm gonna go tell my parents after that so they understand. Um, that makes a lot more sense.
No,
Okay.
that's why I was so hyped about it because I was like, oh my god, she's the Amazonian warrior.
That's so I feel so dumb now. That's hilarious. Oh my God. Oh, that's funny. Okay, that makes more sense now. I like that. That was good. That makes more sense.
Linda Carter looked gorgeous though in the blue cape, and
She looks good. How old is she now?
I have no idea, but like she looked good for her age.
She looks really good for her age. Like
Oh,
she
she's
was in
69 years
shape.
old.
69. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, she looks good for her age.
Yeah.
But oh my God, speaking about looking good, Gal Gadot is like a divine goddess from heaven that
Oh
has
my
been brought
god.
down to us. Oh
Like,
my God.
thank Zack Snyder for casting her because he did the right thing.
She is like, there's no, you can't just say she's beautiful because she brings, like, she gives the word beautiful another name. Like, she's a nice person. She's warm hearted. She's giving. She's generous. And she's like perfection. Um,
Yeah.
she like and also she served as a soldier. Did you know that?
Yeah, in the Israeli army.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah,
um
she was just like meant for this role.
she's like, yeah, honestly I think she's like we said in the beginning, they could not have picked a better person to play Wonder Woman. Like she's
Yeah,
like the real, without obviously the superpowers, she feels like a real life Diana Prince.
I feel like even if you didn't like the movie, I feel like her as Wonder Woman was something
That's
to
something I will
see.
say. If
Yeah.
I have oh my God, can't speak. I have, this is what Gal Gadot does to me. She leaves me speechless. I have criticisms of the movie, and we know this, but I you cannot argue the fact that Gal Gadot was really like the perfect Wonder Woman. Even if, frankly, to me, even if her performance wasn't amazing, like just her being in the suit is enough for me. I'm gonna say
Yeah,
that.
but her performance was actually really much upgraded from the first one. Not saying that her first performance was bad, I'm just saying that it really took it to another level.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, again, in this role, you can't really be like that Oscar-winning actress. This is just not the role that usually pertains to that kind of thing. So it was good, like it fit the role. But I know that she has the new the Nile movie. I forget what it's called now.
Death in the Nile or
Death on the
something?
Nile. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Agatha Christie movie, kind of like Murder on the Orient Express. Um, I know she has that coming up. I saw her in that spy movie with the um Oh my god, I'm completely blanking now on names, but I saw her in some other stuff, and she was good.
Oh, and she's gonna be in a movie with Ryan Reynolds and I think The Rock. Who I
Oh
don't
yes,
know.
the Red Notice.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, it's Keeping Up with the Joneses. That's what the movie I saw her in. She was good. Like she plays that. She plays like that femme fatale kind of like um like she plays that really well. You know what I mean?
mhm.
So that I would. I mean, I would love to see her in something like more pronounced.
And apparently she's getting her own like spy movies.
Yes, she's gonna again perfect person. She kind of like that kind of role. I see her in like she would work that really well.
Yeah,
Um,
and actually she wasn't bad in Fast and Furious either.
I did not see her in Fast and Furious, but I'll take your word for that then.
Yeah, I mean obviously like she's better in like the more recent stuff, but she wasn't bad in those films either.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. But yeah, um, I think that we kind of touched upon everything, right?
Yeah, I think we've touched like everything without giving some
Yeah,
major spoilers, but like I try not to give spoilers, but like it just
I
kind
kind
of
of went off. I'm
yeah.
sorry, I kind of went
No,
off.
I it kind of like went on when I got excited about the jet.
Um, yeah, yeah. So why don't we do this? Let's to end off the episode. Let's give brief final thoughts, just summary of maybe how we felt after the discussion we had, and let's give it a rating out of 10. Want to do that?
Yes, and then
Okay. All
yeah.
right. So you want to go first?
Um, sure.
I'm like, go first.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like just after watching this film, I was just really happy that I kind of like after like doing this podcast, I understand what you're saying. And like now I kind of think of it differently, but I was just so eager and hungry just for comic book content in general that I was just
Yeah.
willing to look past everything. Like I was
Right.
just like, just give me the movie. Like, you know, we have not gotten anything this year from like anything basically from only from Christopher Nolan.
Right. I know. Honestly, well, we've gotten films, like we've gotten stuff, but they've been. It's not your usual bunch. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like they're mostly like, you know, foreign
Independence,
films or
dramas, that
yeah.
kind of stuff. So again, we can always talk about that
Yeah, but
aside
like
from
we
comedy.
haven't gotten like a huge blockbuster
Mm-hmm.
that has gotten everyone excited. So I was just like really excited to watch it. And I just felt really just happy and hopeful for, you know, after just watching this film because it was so lighthearted and the messages were great, as I said in the beginning. And it was just so colorful. And I think that it was a shift from the first one. But yeah, I honestly like enjoyed it. It was a lot. I had a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then what would your rating be?
I gave it like an 8.
An 8? Okay. Okay. So that's great. Good notes. I will go. Kind of again, if you're here still and you've listened to that jumble of the discussion that we had, you kind of know some of the issues I had.
Mhm.
Again, I did not think it was a terrible movie, that it was like hot garbage, not at all.
I
I
feel like
just
also like sorry to cut you off, but I
no
feel like
no
some of the reviews have been just kind of overly hateful for no reason. Like
yeah,
remember
I
I
mean,
texted you some of them?
yeah, like okay, personally, again, I kind of agree with some stuff. That's I'll mention in my final thoughts. I don't again, but like I don't think it was as terrible as people were saying. Like you got to be honest, like it's not meant to be a like that. It's not an artisanal film piece that's you know what I mean. It's a kid superhero movie. It's a G-rated superhero movie.
Yeah, I
You
feel
gotta
like
give it you
kids.
gotta give it
Yeah.
some slack in that respect.
Hmm.
But even with that, I'll still critique it.
Yeah.
Like I said, pacing for me issue. I didn't feel it that there was the rhythm to it felt unbalanced in some parts. It felt too rushed at some parts. We skimmed over stuff we didn't need to. We were talking about stuff we didn't need to for too long in some parts. There was a consistent inconsistency with the 80s theme, like we mentioned. It was very prevalent in the beginning. Loved that. And then it kind of felt too modern towards the end. And with the 80s theme, We could have made it more prevalent. We could have made it more obvious that it was an homage to the filmmaking and not just the way that the script was written. So maybe more, again, like adaptable and prevalent to the modern audience that'd be watching it. But again, that's up to discussion of how you feel the homage should have been done. Score was good. Again, I love Hans Zimmer. I thought the soundtrack was really good. Action sequences, most of them were good. I had a problem with the one with the cars. I don't know, some of the stuff felt a little stereotypical to me. But overall, especially that last one with Cheetah and her in the Golden Eagle suit was good. Problems a little bit with the subplotting, but it kind of made itself around. So overall, it was enjoyable. It was entertaining. It was not an amazing piece of film. It did not really live up to my expectations, unfortunately. But it was like, I still don't like completely regret watching it or anything like that. I just think they could have done more. So my rating is going to be a 6.5.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm sorry for like ripping things apart and things like that. Like, that's totally not what I'm trying to do here. But but after talking about it with you as well, and you kind of enlightening me more about like comic accuracy and specific things I literally had no idea about, some things make a lot more sense to me. So that's actually really good.
And also now I understand more of what you said as well, because I didn't catch all of that stuff when I was watching it. So yeah.
This is why we work together, man. You know what? Like we get it. We can have healthy discussion and talk about this stuff. But yeah, so I think that kind of wraps up the episode. Again, it wasn't very structured, but we kind of just had some fun discussing and chatting, and that made this really fun for us as well. We kind of got to nitpick and go into detail about some stuff. We would love to hear what you guys think. Clearly, a lot of you were anticipating the arrival of this film as much as we were, so please comment on this YouTube video or on our account, letting us know how you felt, maybe how you felt about some of the stuff we were saying. You disagreed, you agreed. We all want to understand things more, so we're totally welcoming to all that kind of stuff. Do you have anything last minute things to say?
I just want to say, like, thank you guys for commenting to make this happen. Like, without your guys' comments, we probably wouldn't have done this and would just discuss it amongst ourselves. So thank you for encouraging us and
it's
asking us to do a podcast.
It's nice to hear that we aren't just doing this for ourselves, and that people actually want to hear what we have to say. That's crazy. It's amazing. So thank you again. We said in the beginning, you guys are amazing. And with that all being said, thank you for listening to this episode again. We're gonna have a lot more commentaries coming out. We've actually got a backlog of some episodes, so those should be coming out in the next couple weeks. We're gonna try and keep to that schedule of every 2 weeks. Sometimes we both got very busy lives, so we try and keep to it. Doesn't always happen, but we're gonna try and keep pushing them out and pumping them out for you guys, because clearly they're enjoyable, which is amazing.
And also, like, after this one, hopefully we can do more of them on these big blockbuster movies.
Yes.
So it'll be
hopefully
fun.
2021, backlog of 2020, we get some new films to discuss, because that's always incredibly fun. But so thank you. Make sure to follow us on our Instagram. Obviously at this point, holiday special is done, but thank you for interacting. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just share this with your friends, whoever maybe watched Wonder Woman. If you have any film lover friends, make sure to show them our account. And we really appreciate the support, and we love you guys, and you're just supporting us on everything that we do. So we will see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.